Jordan Woodruff here with Coach Scott Harmon, and we're talking Ponca City Wildcat football, getting you ready for the upcoming season. And first off, Coach Harmon, thanks for being with us.
I appreciate you coming by.
And we're going to talk a little bit first. We're going to do a few different ones of these, kind of leading up to the first game. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is a little bit about your personality, things like that. And I think the obvious thing that is something we always like to ask coaches: what got you into coaching?
My father, he was a high school football coach, is in the Hall of Fame. Very influential in my life. I also had a couple of other very influential people that are close to the family that were head football coaches, and it's just something I've always wanted to do since I was 4 years old.
Yeah, well, and of course, you know, your time led you across to a couple of different places, ultimately to Oklahoma State,
right,
where you had a nice career there.
Yeah, was very fortunate. Kind of was a tweener. Back then, it was you didn't have how many star ratings. You were either blue chip or red chip, so I'm kind of dating myself a little bit. But I was a blue chip kid that was really undersized and kind of out of position. But Coach Jones recruited me very hard early, and then when I was a junior and I went to OSU football camp, he offered me. So I went with the first offer that I got because I was afraid I might get left behind.
Well, when you got out and you get to coaching, kind of tell us the path that led you. I know there's a state championship there, a lot of winning seasons. Kind of tell us the path that led you here ultimately to Ponca.
Well, you know, I got started here in Ponca City. It was my first high school football job. Rusty Benson. What I told myself is when I got myself certified, I was doing some small school coaching, some junior college coaching at the college level. And I told myself, I said, the first high school that offers me a job, I'm going to go with. And Rusty Benson was a former head coach here, an AD here, and he offered me a job. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. Kind of moved up the ladder pretty quickly. My dad always told me that if you take your first head coaching job, take a job where there's some athletes a little bit, even if it's not as good a football program, you got a chance to win. So took my first head coaching job at Tulsa Central, enjoyed some success there. Went straight to Pawnee, and we were really successful at Pawnee. We were 36-6 the 3 years I was at Pawnee. Had a lot of talent, and then went to McAllister for a year, and then I was very fortunate enough to get the head coaching job at my alma mater in Hominy, which was one of my goals, was to lead that program like my dad did. So enjoyed some success there, then was very fortunate enough to kind of turn that over to one of my proteges, and I worked for him and did some administrative stuff. And then when this job opened up, it was something I really felt strongly about and went after pretty hard, and was fortunate enough to get it. Yeah,
this thing opens up, and naturally, what do you think about Ponca so far? Of course, you're familiar with it, but man, the facilities that you have and the elements that are here to help you win have to be special.
Well, it all starts up top with your administration. I feel like they've committed to it. I feel like the community is committed to it. So that really made me feel good about the move. The program itself has got some work to go to get to where I want it to be, or where we all want it to be, and we know that's accomplished through hard work and hiring good people. So we're off to a pretty decent start there. Kids are working hard, and I'm really pleased with my staff right now.
You mentioned hard work, and I think that's a principle for every coach. But if I had you to kind of define what your basic coaching principles are, what would they be?
We keep it simple and play fast. You know what I mean? We're not, it's one of those things, we're going to be fundamentally sound. We're going to really focus on those things. We're going to be able to do a few things really well as opposed to doing a lot of things very average. So, and there's some things there that we've kind of implemented some small school philosophies in there, playing both ways a little bit, getting your best athletes out on the field, and we feel like that's the best way to go right now with where we're at in Ponca City, and the staff's bought in, so feel good about where we're headed.
Now, being a small school kid myself, it's hard to believe. I wouldn't know what it'd be like to specialize. I want to be on both ends. I know you're kind of the same. Now, when you got to college, you had to specialize a little bit, but still, when you grow up in a small school, it's every sport and it's playing every way you can.
That's right. Never leave the field, basically. And even when we got to college, I was on a lot of special teams. So you do defense, special teams. So it's just instilled in me that, you know, good football players are on the field. They're not on the sidelines.
All right. And how's your family enjoying Ponca so far?
Doing well. My fiance is still working in Coweta, so it's tough on us during the season. But my son is going to East Junior High, or middle school, I should say. He's going to be an 8th grader. He's competing for the quarterback spot. played a little baseball with him this summer, so he's got off to a really good start.
That's good to hear. Well, Coach, we'll do another part coming up here shortly.
All right, thank you.
As Coach Scott Harmon, and we'll be back, and next time we're going to be talking a little bit about the off-the-field stuff with Coach Harmon. So stay tuned right here on PoHighSports.com.